All right. We're here with cartoon Hoodfigaz.
Much love, Bobby. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for pulling up, man. Appreciate you coming down.
No, I appreciate the opportunity, bro.
Thank you. Got it. So, cartoon, where are you originally from?
Originally from Texas, city called Brownsville, right by the border, about 5 minutes from the border. South Texas. I don't think you get any further than that. So, yeah.
How long did you live out there?
I was there till I was 18. Obviously, joined the Marine Corps, moved out here to California.
That's what's up. SPM's from Texas.
SPM is from Texas.
He's supposed to be released soon.
Yep, I heard that.
How do you feel about that?
I think, you know, the whole Cali, Texas beef right now that's going on with that controversy, people are going to have their thoughts on it, you know what I mean? I usually try to stay away from controversy like that. You know, I keep to my own. You know, everybody has their own thoughts, their own opinions. I just tend to do me, you know, and focus on my craft, focus on my music, my life. And I think that's the only way that's going to, you know, make everything smooth and not have people aiming their eyes at you a certain type of way, you know. So I try to avoid that, all that stuff.
There's a lot of mixed feelings with that guy. You have a lot of artists who want to collaborate with him.
Absolutely.
And then you got a lot of artists that don't want to collaborate with him, more on the southern side.
Yeah.
Over here in California, don't want to mess with him. But Texans, they you know, there's a lot of mixed feelings about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I
mean, I grew up, I mean, I'm not going to lie, I grew up to listening to SPM. But at the same time, you know, I also listen to West Coast music. So everything just kind of that I listened to influenced the type of music that I made. You know, whatever choices people made in their life, you know, that's up to them. You know, I think I just tend to listen more to the music, you know. Like I said, everybody has their own type of life, so whatever they do on their own terms is them.
So at what age did you move to California?
I moved when I was 18.
At 18? So
18.
How do you feel about Texas versus California?
I know that beef is there, you know. I mean, I hear people talk about it. You know, I've talked to people that, you know, have asked me where I'm from, and I tell them Texas, and immediately, you know, I get like a stare. But I to be honest with you, I really don't pay no mind to it, you know, that there's always going to be beef. You know, people are not going to like where you're from. People are not going to like a certain type of area, just like the East Coast, West Coast beef. But I think it all matters to, especially me, how I portray myself to people, you know, what I talk about, you know, how I carry myself. I think that's the key thing when I talk to people. So, I mean, like I said, I really don't pay no mind to that.
But besides the beef, what do you like? What state do you like more?
I like Cali.
Like Cali?
I like Cali. I mean, I love Texas. You know, Texas brought me up. You know, my parents moved from Mexico around the time that I was 5 years old. So when I moved to Texas, obviously, I don't forget where I'm from. You know, I love where I grew up. I love, you know, my homies that I grew up around with, the family. I will never forget where I'm from. But I think the West Coast, California itself, had a lot of influence, not only in my music, but just the way that I was brought up, you know, like especially the music, you know, the music that made me. I got here, and I mean, the places are two totally different things, you know. So when I moved out to Cali, it was like a new world to me. I was like, man, look, there's a lot to do. You know, I even talked to the homies, like there's more to the valley, because that's what it's called where we're from. There's more to the valley than you guys think, you know, like leave, whether it's Cali, you know, wherever else you go. I think California just kind of took a place in my heart, you know.
Yeah, so you're a military man.
I am.
What branch?
I joined the Marine Corps.
Marine Corps.
Yeah.
Thank you for your services.
Oh, thank you for your support.
At what age did you join the military?
18 years old.
18 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the time, obviously I was going to high school. I had been going through, you know, detentional like programs. I was on probation at the time, and I spoke to the probation officer, and he told me, you know, what are you going to do with your life after you graduate? And it kind of hit me, man, because, you know, I was seeing where my homies were, and I was like, damn, is that where I'm going to end up, you know? And he said, you know, you can always think about joining the service. You know, you can, you know, get your education from them, and, you know, kind of took me down this rabbit hole, and I was like, I ain't going to do all that, man. But I spoke to a recruiter, and the recruiter saw me. At the time, I was working at a gasoline station, and he saw me cleaning up these gas pumps. And he came up to me, he's like, is this what you want to do for the rest of your life? And I was like, not really, you know. To be honest with you, I don't want to be here. And he's like, why don't you come talk to me? So I want to go talk to him, you know, told me what he offered, you know. Obviously told me a little bit more with some honey, so I believed it. And I ended up, enlisting, and I went to the Marine Corps, which I thought was going to be only 4 years, but obviously I ended up staying enlisted, and I've been out here since.
How many years were you enlisted?
I enlisted initially for 4. This was in 2013, and then I've been active since, so 10 years now. 10 years in the Marine Corps.
10 years in the Marine Corps, man.
10 years.
How do you like it?
I love it. I love it because it's given so much to me. It gave me opportunity to leave, It gave me the opportunity to give me something new to a world that I never thought existed, So when I moved out here, I obviously felt blessed that the military, especially the Marine Corps, was giving me so much, to provide for my family, send back to my moms, my pops, and, become a better man, a better version of myself that I didn't think I could possibly achieve.
Yeah, it's awesome, man.
Yeah.
What do you do for the military?
I'm a diesel mechanic, so I work on a lot of the tactical vehicles.
You ever been to war?
I've been deployed to Afghanistan, yes.
What was that situation like out there?
So this was 2014. I had just finished my schooling for the military, the diesel mechanic schooling. I got orders to Camp Pendleton. And after getting orders 3 months later, I felt like I had just settled in, They told me, hey, do you wanna volunteer for a deployment? And I had been hearing, all this like traveling stuff about being deployed and the opportunities that could come with it. So I was like, you know what, I'll do that. Like, where are we going? So you're going to Afghanistan. I was like, oh, damn, it's real now. You know what I mean? So it didn't really hit me. I did the workups, I did the training until I was on that plane, and I left from Maine. We flew to Romania, and then Romania to Afghanistan. So it wasn't until I hit that other country that I was like, damn, this is getting real. So once we landed in Afghanistan, I get off the plane, we're getting all our stuff, all our gear, we're getting our packs. And I remember getting off the plane into this flight line, and I see nothing but desert, and I'm like, damn, the heat from the engine is really hot. It's like burning my face. I'm like, damn, the engine plane, the heat from the engine that it's, showing from the little spinners that it has on the plane. I'm like, damn, they're really hot.
Yeah.
But I keep walking on this flight line, and I was like, damn, it's not the plane. Like, it's really hot out here. I think it was like 122 degrees that day.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is a whole different new world to me. And the rest was history after that.
Yeah, it's hot out there in Afghanistan, right? I've spoken with many people, and they say the same thing.
Yeah,
it's that dry heat out there.
It's crazy, man. I don't think in Texas it's hot, but it's a humid hot, so it's a different type of hot. That type of heat it's unbearable, man.
Man.
Yeah.
Where'd you do your basic? Camp Pendleton?
I did it in San Diego, MCRD San Diego. That's
Okay.
where I did basic training. Yeah, 3 months.
What's the craziest thing that you've ever witnessed in the military?
I think it was seeing a ceremony for 3 Marines that had gotten blown up out there. I want to say it was a Wednesday night. I got pulled from where we were staying at, and we went to the flight line, and a unit had just had 3 fallen Marines. So I remember standing in a formation, and there's other Marines around, and they're carrying these caskets of the Marines draped with the American flag over them. And there's just all these Marines, with tears running down their face, but they're not showing any emotion, and they're getting carried, these bodies are getting carried into a plane. And I remember just thinking to myself, this could be any of us, this could be myself, the homies to the left and to the right. So that's when reality hit, and I really understood what we were there for, because there's people out there that want to hurt you, people don't like Americans, and that was a given factor to seeing all that. So that was pretty eye revealing to me, and it just, I still get it to this day, and yeah.
It's always tragic when a fellow American loses his life to war. War is a terrible thing.
100%. I think it hits more, just to think that whoever relative that was, whether it was a husband, a brother, a niece, a son, daughter, whoever that was, you know what I mean? You think, what was that last conversation they had with the loved one? Or what was that letter that they sent off before? What was that like? When they went on a convoy, what was the last thing running through their head? When they got hit, did they feel that? Like, there's just so many things that run through your head. Like, you start thinking, damn, like, what was the last, memory that they had? What were they thinking at that moment? And it's an endless hole that you'll never be able to answer yourself. So it kind of just stays stuck to you.
Yeah, it's tragic, man.
Yeah, 100%.
There was a story, last time we spoke, you told me a story about this boat with people in it. I don't know if it was if they were testing the boat out.
No, it was another vehicle.
Or was it a vehicle?
Yeah.
It went into the water?
Yeah.
What happened again?
No, so they were on a convoy and they had this vehicle kept trying to cut these people off, right? And this unit that was out, they kept trying to test them and stuff. And I don't know if they called in, the threat and the permission to return fire. So they did, and then obviously they got lit up. So I think that was, it's more of a question of like, if you place yourself in danger, and you get the go to do what you have to do, like, how can you in your head say like, am I ready to take like a life? You know what I mean? And to me, I don't know. This is to me, I don't know who else would say it different, but we fight for what we believe. They fight for what they believe. So in our reality, they're gonna die for what they believe, and we're gonna die for what they believe. But do two wrongs make a right? You know what I'm saying? So it's just situations that happen like that.
Yeah. So you're still enlisted and you're in active duty?
Yes, active duty.
So they can call you to war tomorrow, and
oh yeah, I think anybody.
How long do you plan on staying in the military?
I think that's the boat that I'm stuck on. I've done my 10 years. People tell me just do another 10, retire, do your 20. If I retire, I'll be 38 when I retire, which is really young. But 10 years has sucked my life, man. 10 years has run me so dry emotionally, mentally, physically, that I think, yeah, you say it's only 10 more years, but place yourself in my shoes, you're talking about going through, mental breakdown, depression. I have homies, man, that came back from Afghanistan that ended up, smoking themselves. You go out there to fight a war and they come back waging a war against themselves, and, they end their own life. These are veterans that had their boots in the sand that ended up, falling victims to their own battles. Not too long ago, I just had a best friend that smoked himself, and I wouldn't say like best friend close to him, but he was a friend of mine because we worked together when I was a drill instructor down in the depot, and we're just, and I think every Marine to me is a brother, regardless of where they're from, because they wear the same cloth, So yesterday I went to his wake, and I was sitting there, I was seeing the mother cry, and I was seeing all these people cry for him, and I'm, in my head I think the same shit. These are people that have been deployed, people that have seen war, people that have been to other countries. They come back, but they're waging this war against themselves that they think that nobody's there for them, and that mental health eventually catches up to them. You know what I mean? And they see no way out. So the only way out that they see is by not being here anymore. And that's the 10 years that I'm talking about. This depression, this hole that you put your mind into because you're so used to providing so much energy for this branch that you're in, for what you believe in, that I think you forget about yourself. You're so focused on giving back to others that you forget about yourself. And when you do that, that's when you find yourself in that bind. So it's tough, man.
Yeah, there's so much trauma that these soldiers go through in everyday life, right? When they're at war, the things that they've experienced, the things that they've had to do for their country to make it a better place and to survive in situations, when they come back, they're not the same. A lot of them are not the same.
Yeah.
You know, because they didn't go in that way. They didn't see those things when they were here.
Yeah, 100%.
You see those type of things when you're out there, third world countries, fighting another man.
Yeah.
Right. Do you suffer from PTSD?
I think I've never been diagnosed with it. I mean, mentally, I think it's in there, you know, because I have my battles, man. To be honest with you, I'm scared to ask for that help. I'm scared to like go and say, you know, talk to we call them psych, you know, we call them wizards, you know, talk to this person that's going to evaluate you, because I know the answer to that, you know. But mental health becomes a burden in the military that you're kind of scared. Even as a man, bro, you're prideful to ask for help, you know. Mental health is a real thing, man. You know, we pride ourselves on not asking for help. That, you know, it's just something that we're born with. You know what I mean? A man has a problem in life and he deals with it by himself. You know, you're feeling down. I don't know about you, but I go to the car. You know, sometimes I shed a tear in the car, or, you know, I go somewhere alone and I shed a tear and I go back and I put on this fake ass smile that people want to see, you know. But yeah, I know something's wrong with me. You know what I mean? I battled depression all my life. You know, I'd be lying to you right now if I sat in front of you and I told you I wasn't depressed. You know, life doesn't come with flowers and roses, bro. The sad truth is that this world is ugly. This reality that we live in is ugly, and it breaks you down from the inside out, bro. And putting that pride aside is, you know, for lack of better words, is a bitch. Because people want to see a persona. People want to see you smile, but do people really care to ask, like, what's going on with you? Or what are you going through? What are you fighting mentally? You know, how do you really feel? What's going on? Talk to me. You know, nobody really does that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, you got to be compassionate for people out there, man, because like you said, you don't know what they're going through in life. They might be going through some trauma. They might be going through some serious situations in their life at that moment, and you don't know what they're going through.
Yeah.
So it's cool to be kind to people, man, because it could be that hello or that nice gesture that changes their day for the better, you know, versus you saying something they're a ticking time bomb.
Yeah.
A lot of these people, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of these shootings that you see out there with kids shooting, and there's a deeper root to that issue. There's problems there, you know, whether it has to do with home or you know, within themselves.
Yeah, it's 100%.
How do you battle your demons? What are some of the ways that you battle your demons?
So lately, man, you know, I think it took a while to realize that the way that I was battling my demons wasn't the right way. You know, I got to a point where I would use music, right, to let my emotions out, but I started depending on drinking, right? And this drinking that I started, you know, it took me to a point where I would drink so much, right, because I was chasing this buzz, this buzz that made me feel good. I would go to the studio, right? I want to get buzzed because I want to make something nice. I want people to feel the true me, right? When I'm buzzed, I can really express myself, because if I'm sober, I can't let that out. You know, I can't express myself. I can't put out a smile. I can't put out my anger because I don't feel nothing. I feel numb. So I would think drinking would bring that out of me, right? I'm gonna drink. I'm gonna get buzzed. I'm gonna let the people know how I'm feeling. I'm gonna get up on that mic and I'm gonna let it all out, right? This is my time to desahogarme, let it all go, and I'm gonna let it out on the mic. But that took a toll, because now I was relying on drinking. And one beer turned to two, two beers turned to three beers turned to 12 beers turned to 24. And by the time you know it, after so much of doing this in the studio, I would go to the studio all drunk, and I wasn't even getting, at that point, I wasn't getting anything done. I wasn't getting shit done. You know what I'm saying? I would, you know, go on lives all drunk and stuff, and I'm like, bro, like, what am I doing with my life? Like, I'm showing this to people, bro. Like, you know, like, here I am, you know, feeling a certain type of way. People are seeing how I'm being, but it's not a healthy type of like show. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't doing things the right way. So I'm drowning myself in a pool of alcohol, and I'm thinking that I'm doing something positive for my music career, but at that time, I didn't know the damage that I was doing to myself. And I definitely did a lot of damage to the ones around me, to my family, to most importantly to me and my career, you know?
Speaking of damage, you just recently came out of the hospital.
Yes.
Well, what was that for?
So I kept, you know, obviously I was still drinking at the time. I started going through a lot of stomach pains, you know? And these stomach pains started becoming almost like regularly. So it was almost like I was having I ate something bad or like food poisoning. So I felt like, oh, you know what? It's nothing. You know, I just probably ate something bad. Disregard it. Drink another beer. I feel good. You know what I mean? So I stopped eating because in the morning I would wake up on a weekend and I would want to drink. So I was drinking on an empty stomach. It ended up getting to a point where my stomach was unbearable. The pain was unbearable. So I ended up going to a hospital. And now this is me thinking, right, it's just another stomach ache. I'm just going to go get some meds, man. I'll be out the same day, right? So I go to the hospital. I want to say it's December 3rd, which is a Saturday. December 3rd or the 2nd. To be honest with you, I don't know. But it was a Saturday. So I went to the ER, right? I checked myself in. And I told the nurse, I have this stomach pain. You know, I'm just trying to get some antibiotics, XYZ. I just want to get out of here, you know? I even thought about it. I was like, man, after this, I'm going to go to the studio, drink some more, and I'll be good by the morning. So I go to the hospital, you know, and I started getting blood tests. They do a CAT scan, and I'm laying down on this bed that they have in the corridor, and I'm just laying down there looking at the ceiling. And I'm like, damn, man, I'm trying to get out of here already, bro. It's like I came in at 8 p.m. It's already 2 in the morning. Then the doctor comes back with the CAT scan results, and he's like, you know what, dog? He's like, you know, we're gonna have to admit you. He's like, now, like we need to admit you now. I was like, damn, what's going on? He's like, you know, your lower intestine, he's like, it's so swollen, and your appendix is swollen as well. He's like, we need to admit you now. And he's like, and right now you're cutting off all liquids, you're cutting off all foods, so you can't eat nothing. And I got admitted, and yeah, I mean, it kind of brought me to this room, and I mean, the rest after that was pretty painful.
Yeah, I mean, it was scary for you.
Yeah.
At one point, you thought you had cancer.
Yeah, bro. So, you know, to go more in depth, you know, I'm laying down in this hospital bed, and I'm getting all these tests ran, you know, and days are passing by. They have me on this liquid diet, you know. I'm like throwing up blood, you know. I'm seeing blood on the toilet for every time I go to the restroom, and I'm like, damn, what's going on? So they do a biopsy on me from the inside, and you know, the doctor's like, you know, this could possibly be, you know, colon cancer. You know, we're just gonna check. We're gonna run a biopsy just in case. So they run the biopsy, you know, and throughout this whole time, I'm in a tense amount of pain, bro. Like, I mean, a pain that I've never felt, that I don't wish on nobody. So I finally wait for the results to come back. It's like 3-4 days, and between those 3-4 days, a lot happened. And what I mean by that is, I came through like a spiritual awakening to understand what was truly going on, right? So I'm laying down in this bed, and I'm like depressed, man. I'm like, there's no way that, you know, what if it is cancer, bro? Like, how am I gonna tell my moms? You know, my mom's already worried that I'm in here. How am I gonna tell her? How am I gonna have the heart to tell her? How am I gonna tell my family, the people that care about me, all these people that are like waiting a response, like, what's going on with you? You know, are you good? Like, what am I gonna say? You know, so I remember laying down, bro, and I fall into this deep, like, depression, just staring at the ceiling, because my whole world just like crumbling under me, you know? So this lady comes in, she's a janitor. She comes in and she's cleaning, right? And she just, you know, sees me staring at this ceiling, kind of lost in thought, you know? She's cleaning, and she stops, and she tells me, I have the need to pray for you. God is telling me to pray for you. Is it okay if I pray for you? And I was like, yeah, go ahead. So she grabs my arm, my right arm, and she starts praying, and I started crying like a baby, bro. Because I felt that God was giving me all these signs, and I was being stubborn enough to, like, you know what, I'm not listening to this. Like, you know, I don't believe in that, you know. Like, I mean, I believe in God, but I don't believe in, like, telltale signs of, like, him trying to speak out to you and reach out to you. So when I started crying like a baby, man, I felt this, like, warmth all over my body, bro. And I was like, that's when I surrendered, bro, and I talked to God, and I was like, you know what? I get it. I know why I'm suffering. I know why you're doing this. If my pain and my suffering has a meaning, then I understand now. I know that I wasn't on the right path. I know that what I was doing was wrong. I know I was doing damage to my body. I know that I was drinking my poison and I was drinking myself to death. And then after that, you know, the biopsy came back and it came back negative for you know, cancer and all these other things that I thought it was. So at that point, it was relieving, bro. You know, I took a deep breath and I was just thankful to be here, you know, and I told myself, I'm too young to be going through all of this, man. I'm 28 years old, bro. You know, life has so much ahead of me. I have so much life to give, so much things to say, so much days I have to live, so much people that I got to meet. Like, now I'm going to do it the right way. And I'm going to do it the right way because now it's God's calling and I'm going to do it in God's presence. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to say I'm religious and, oh, I'm perfect. No, but now I used to feel lonely and depressed, you know, walking, you know, with alcohol in my hand, thinking that would make it better. But now I'm giving all that depression and all my problems to Him. And I talk to Him now, bro. You know, I'm building my relationship with God. I'm building my relationship with the people that I should have. I'm mending those things, those relationships that were sour. I'm making them better. I'm trying to make amends with people. If you don't want to make amends, guess what? At least I reached out to you and I try to make it better. I try to apologize for my wrongdoings. And if I ever did you wrong, I'm sorry for that. If you don't forgive me, that's okay. But I'm going to do my part. You know what I mean? And coming out, like, that's all I've been doing. You know, I just got out the hospital 2 days ago. And that's the thought that I'm approaching things now with, you know, just a more positive attitude. I told myself I'm going to quit drinking. I'm going to quit smoking. I'm going to quit doing the things that I used to do. And I'm just going to focus on myself and creating a better version for myself. Not only for myself, but for the people that listen to me in the music, you know?
Yeah. There's a plan for you, man.
Absolutely.
You know, there's a plan for you. You gotta, sometimes you gotta really listen, because sometimes it sounds like a whisper, but there's definitely a plan for you. And I see that you're on the right path. Keep it up, man, because, yeah, you only get one shot at this, man. You know, only one shot at this. So we all go through our trials and tribulations, for sure. I've been through this, similar situations. But, you know, there's a light at the end of the tunnel if we can
100%.
Follow our passion and our take the right steps to become a better person, right?
Yeah, 100%.
It's a scary situation, man.
Yeah.
You know, that would have had me kind of tripping, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was scary, man.
You know, but you're out now. You're 2 days out. What got you into music, man?
I think it was the same thing of wanting to express myself, you know. I mean, I grew up listening to music. I had always done music, but I never really took it serious. Even when I joined the Marine Corps, it was more of a pastime, you know, more of a, oh, I'm gonna, yeah, you know. But I think it got serious. COVID hit, so everybody was in their little shell, you know. That's when TikTok was blowing up, because everybody was at home, you know, doing their thing, you know. So at the time, you know, I had already recorded some songs, you know. I really didn't know much of the West Coast artists that I'm now relevant to. So I started doing my digging, and I'm like, man, you know, these dudes are like, they're out there, you know, but they're still like, you know, like not so well known, you know, but they're making a name of themselves. I was like, I need to do something like this. So I went to the mic, man, and at the time I released, I made a 17-track album, 17-track album called Hoodfigaz. And I released it. And then the love that came with that, after that, it was over, man. That was enough for me to like understand and say, damn, people actually want to listen to me. I got a story to tell. People are relating to this, you know? So now this outlet that was for me is now becoming an outlet for others that are listening. So I started chasing it. And ever since 2020 till now, I've been pushing it heavy, bro.
That's what's up, man. Cartoon Hoodfigaz, what does that represent?
So cartoon, to me, you know, and people ask me like, oh, like Mr. Cartoon. I look up to Mr. Cartoon, man. He's one of my idols, you know what I mean? Like
tattoo artist.
The tattoo artist, especially because, you know, of his graffiti, his drawing. That's why they call me Cartoon too, where I used to live in Texas. They used to call me Toons, because I came up as a graffiti artist too. You know what I mean? That's a lot of the reasons why I got in trouble. Right. When I was in high school, I went to DAEP, detention center, got locked up for it. So it became like something that stuck to me. You know, I would write Tune 1 everywhere. That was like my free time back home, so Cartoon stuck around. Hoodfigaz didn't really become a thing till I dropped that album. So I dropped, at the time it was Cartoon, and I dropped Hoodfigaz was just the album. But then I was like, I like the Ring cartoon Hoodfigaz. I like that. And, you know, people ask me, like, you know, what does Hoodfigaz mean? You know, and that's where I was like, everybody grows up in the hood, right? Even if you're rich, you know, you grow up in a little, you know, in a vecindario, or you grow up, you know, in the town or wherever, you know, you could be rich, you could be poor, wherever you grow up in. You grow up in a social place. You know people, you know homies, right?
Community. Yeah.
Community. So you have people that you look up to, right? You have these figures that you look up to. Me personally, I look up to the people that were in my neighborhood, you know, the homies with, you know, the nice cars, you know, the homies that were not doing the right thing, but I looked up to them because I'm like, man, I want to do that. I want to have what he's having. So he's a figure to me, right? So he's this figure that I look up to. Every hood, every place, every community has a figure, right? Hoodfigaz, you know what I mean? So it's something for everybody. It's universal. You know, it's not South Texas figures. It's not LA figures, West Coast figures. It's not Cali figures. You know, it's Hoodfigaz.
Yeah.
Who doesn't grow up in the hood? Who doesn't grow up in the community? We all do. You know, whether you're Hispanic, you're from another race, that's what it is.
A cool name. It's relatable.
It's relatable.
Cool. You know, it's a good explanation for it, too.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are wondering.
Yeah, people hear that and they're like, what are you trying to say? You know?
Get that a lot?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, but that's just me, you know. That's the name that I came up with, and it's HF is being recognized now, you know. People are like, oh, HF all day, HF, you know. I say that everywhere, you know.
Right.
And I'm trying to make this movement where people can recognize, you know, not put themselves in the whole like IE versus LA versus OC versus, you know, all these, you know, all the whole little street beef. You know, I don't deal with that. You know, I want to make something universal for everybody. If you don't like it, cool. If you like it, even better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, being universal is the way to go, man.
Yeah.
You get everybody.
You can't put yourself in a box, bro.
You can't put yourself in a box. You know, you gotta think outside the box. Who are some of the people that you used to look up to, as MC wise? You know, rappers and stuff like that.
Oh man, that's a list. My taste in music is very
versatile.
Very versatile, right? I listen to corridos. Lately I've been on corridos a lot. You know, I like corridos. I mean, Chalino Sanchez.
Oh yeah.
I like his hustle. I like this hustle.
Legend.
You know,
Yeah.
legendary. You know what I mean? East Coast, you know, Biggie. You know,
Right.
Run DMC. You know, Mobb Deep is a huge influence in me.
Right.
I came up on boom bap, so that was big to me. KRS-One.
Yeah.
Talking about West Coast, you know, obviously Snoop Dogg. You know, Mac Dre. You know, all those people that formed, you know, Cali and the East. You know what it was to now where it is. You know what I'm saying? So, and relevant artists right now, man, I gotta give a lot of props to you know, to Swifty, to Doughboy 909, King Little G, Young Drummer Boy, like all those guys that are relevant right now, that are getting out there. Even 52 Mob, you know, Young Money Suede, him, all those people. They're making music, not personally that I would make, but music that it's getting out there. You know what I mean? I got love for artists. You know, you make music, that's your type of art. You know, I don't think music should have a type of a genre. In specific wise to how it should be formed, because it's an art form. Everybody's gonna express it differently. You know, some people don't like the mumble rap, the whole Draco vibe. Some people do. You know what I mean? Some people like lyricism. You know, that boom bap. You know, deep with the lyrics. Some people don't. You know what I mean? So it's versatile.
I mean, hip hop will always be hip hop, but it will always transition into something different, right?
Oh, 100%.
It will, because that's the way the world goes, right? It's different.
Yeah.
It becomes better. It becomes different. You know, a lot of people will disagree that it becomes better because they grew up in this era of time where, you know, like you said, KRS-One, you know.
Yeah. The bridge is over.
Dr. Dre,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And but now you got all these young rappers that are, you know, that are relevant now.
Yeah.
And people are listening to them, and you know what? Hey, shout out to them, because they're making noise.
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
like our forefathers, right? In
Yeah.
the hip hop. These guys are the shit now.
The new wave. Yeah.
The new wave. So all respect to them.
Absolutely.
Have you collaborated with anybody any of those guys that you just mentioned?
Oh man, I got a couple collabs in the works, man. But I just recently did a track with Yellow Hill, and I got a couple other things. I've done one with Baldacci too. I really would like to work with Young Dopey. You know, Young Dopey, and you know, he's in my scope too, because I think he's a great MC, you know. But a lot of people that, I mean, I would like to collaborate with a lot of people, you know. I just try to keep myself open to a lot of things, you know. But at the same time, I know that not a lot of people, you know, people get thrown off by the whole, like, oh, you from Texas, oh, you a Marine, you know, like type of deal. So, like I said, I don't care for what people say about me, you know. People are gonna throw energy at me, but I don't like to entertain negative energy, man. I don't pay no mind to it. I see the comments, you know, sometimes, but it's whatever, man. People are gonna have their opinions, you know. I'm gonna keep doing me. You know, you ain't hurting me, you know. I go to sleep right, you know. I'm gonna wake up the same person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, pay no mind to the negativity. Negativity is going to be out there, whether you like it or not. Haters are going to hate, man.
Yeah.
But you know what? You got to look at it as haters. I mean, haters are your motivators, right?
Yeah.
Haters are your biggest fans, low key. You know, they watch your every move.
Yeah.
What does that tell you? They're big fans of yours.
Yeah.
So all that negativity ain't nothing, man. Pay no mind. Keep pushing forward. You got to do you. At the end of the day, bro, that's all you got is you. Ain't nobody else paying your bills.
Yeah.
So you got to come correct with that. You know what I'm saying?
100%. Yeah.
Because that's what it's about, man. It's all about you as an individual and what you want to bring to the table.
100%, bro.
You know what I'm saying? And you're pushing. How serious do you want to take this music game?
Man, I think, you know, obviously I built my own studio, and I have a lot of artists that come to the studio. You know, I've had, you know, shout out to Triple X, man, my boy Hectic, shout out to the homie Hectic from OC, my boy Chief Smoke coming all the way from Victorville to, you know, to come record. So I think I've established myself with the foundation of working for artists, because, you know, now not only do I make music, but, you know, I engineer too. You know, I engineer their mastering, their vocals, I record them. So I think I've created myself a universal lane in the music that is getting, you know, well known, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, things are getting there, man. I look at the numbers every year, and the numbers always double. So I have to be doing something right, you know? And I think end goal would be, you know, to be on a stage full of people, you know, that are actually vibing to what I'm saying. You know, I don't care to be famous, you know. If it happens, it happens. God had the plan for that. But if it doesn't, that's okay. I gave it my all, but at least I can go into the future saying, at least I tried, instead of what if I would have tried. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather say I gave it my all instead of, man, I should have done that. You know what I mean? So I think it's the music is definitely going to keep pushing, bro. You know, I got a lot of projects in the works. I got a lot in the bag. I've been holding off a lot.
Yeah.
So what I got coming is going to be big.
Where do you find your inspiration to write this music, man? Where do you pull it from?
Everything I write about is what I'm feeling, you know, whether it be, you know, a track that's lit, you know, like a clubby song. Maybe I was in the mood to like get hyped up, but I stick a lot to realism, you know what I mean? People like to hear the truth. When you speak your heart out on the microphone and you say words that people are attracted to because they feel it, that's my reward. You know, that's where I find the motivation. When somebody, you know, sends me a message on a DM and says, yo, what you said on this song is crazy, or they quote a line, like, that's what means a lot to me, because I'm like, damn, he actually took the time to listen. Yeah, that's exactly what I said. You know what I mean? And that's to me is the goal around to keep going on the music. You know, I get in the studio and, man, I could be in the studio 3 hours looking for a beat. I might find a beat, I might not, you know, or I could be on my way home in the car. I put beats in the car, and that first beat that I slap on, it's a go. I already know it. In my head, I have like these words flying, and I start making a hook, you know, and I start playing around with the words. I'm like, yeah, this sounds good. I like this. You know, I'm going to make this song about this. I get to the studio. By the time I get to the studio connect, it's time to record. You know, and people trip out because they're like, damn, you just wrote that? I just did a verse for the homie Mac 909. He's from out here, from the IE. And he sent me a song, and I remember that night, I was supposedly gonna record for myself. I was like, man, I'm gonna record, you know, I'm feeling it today. He sent me a beat, and I felt the beat. I think the beat was called Redemption. And he's like, yeah, I need you to talk about redemption, you know, coming back, all this stuff. I'm like, say less, bro, I got you. I ripped the hook and I ripped the verse for him in like a matter of 30 minutes. And he's like, damn, man, you work fast. I'm like, if I'm feeling it, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's whenever you try to push those lines that you try too hard, that you create something that's not really you. And that's not what I'm trying to do. I have hundreds of songs where I recorded, and they're probably never going to see that in the light, because that's not who I am. Maybe in the mood I was feeling it, but I come back the next day, I listen to it, I'm like, you know what, that ain't me. You know, that's not what people want to hear. You know what I'm saying?
It's funny you mentioned redemption. There's a song that you're working on now.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the song?
Yeah. So obviously, I had been working on this song called Revelations. You know, and it took me a while to work on this song, because this song it had an intro, and the intro went something along the lines like, when I was growing up, I made a vow to be different. See, I've had homies buried in the dirt or end up in prison, you know, and it was a poem. I wrote a poem, right? Like it was. I mean, in my ears, it sounded beautiful because it was the truth. You know what I mean? And I was like, what am I gonna call this song? Revelations. I'm like, I like Revelations because if we go back to biblical scriptures, Revelations is of what to come, the end of days. Yeah. So when I came out the hospital, I started messing with the song, mastering the song, and I'm like, this is perfect. I just went through the situation where I placed myself in almost what I thought was a near-death experience. You know, I'm internally bleeding from the inside, not knowing if I'm going to be okay in the future. To coming out, everything was okay. To now to this song, I'm like, lines up perfect. Because now we're talking about the end of days, but it's not the end of the days of the world. It's the end of days of a life that I used to have. This life that was not the correct path, right? So now I got Revelations, and I'm talking about, you know, a new beginning. We're ending this life, we start a new path, and Revelations is going to bring a new beginning. So you're seeing a cartoon that was before, and now it's a different tunes, more powerful, more awake to reality itself, to life itself, to enjoy life for what it truly is. You know, and I know Revelations is going to hit, man. So I'm planning on making it an album, and it's got some deep things in there, man. A lot of deep things. I think when people hear it, it's going to take a while for people to soak that in, because it's a lot different than what I usually do, you know. And I could tell you that a lot of those songs, I went into the booth, man. There was one song specifically in that album. It's called Off the Table, and it talks about mental health and suicide. And dude, I remember like 3 times that I tried to record it, man, I just kept breaking down into tears. But I kept telling myself, this is real. This is what people are gonna. If I'm feeling this, people are gonna feel this, and it's gonna be deep, man. It's gonna cut so deep, but it's the sad reality. And I'm gonna put, you know, metaphorically speaking, a mirror in front of people, and you're gonna have to take a good hard look at yourself, and it's gonna make you realize a lot, you know, whether it's with family or your personal self.
Definitely looking forward to that album, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be
like
good.
Something that people are gonna be able to relate to.
Yeah.
You know, what are some of the differences that you see in yourself now versus when you were growing up, man, Travieso and everything?
I think I'm more mature, you know, more mature to life itself, man, to, you know, to understand, you know, those consejos, like we call them, you know, growing up in a Mexican home. My mom used to give me all these consejos, you know. At the time, you know, my dad wasn't around. My dad was locked up. I didn't really get to meet my dad or have that bond with them till I was in high school, which I was already too late, you know. But growing up, you know, and having those consejos, and I remember my mom telling me, like, mira, no salgas tan tarde, or, you know, don't hang around with the wrong crowd, you know, ese muchachito como que no, you know. And at the time, I didn't really pay attention to that, you know. So, you know, looking back to it, all the things that she told me ended up being true, right? So the people I was hanging around with, I ended up getting locked up with them for the first time. You know, I was told, she kept telling me not to stop, you know, to stop tagging, because she would hear the spray cans in my backpack when I went to school, man. You know, she'd be like, stop tagging, stop writing on other people's property. What ended up happening? Detention center. You know what I mean? So, like, you know, all these things that I look back at now, you know, and I'm more open to her talks, you know, and thank God I still have her around. I have a loving mother, man, that to this day talks to me like I'm a kid. But you know what? I appreciate that, bro, because it keeps me on my path. You know what I mean? And I'm more open to life itself, you know, I double think things, you know. Back then when I used to drink, I didn't double think things. You know, so I think where I'm at now, it's just a lot different. You know, back then, you can ask, you know, Pamps this, man. Pamps knows me well. You know, shout out to Pamps, man. He's a good friend of mine, but he's seen a lot of the dark stuff that I've done, bro. And it got to a point where back then, you know, I was rolling around with the cuete everywhere, bro. For what, bro? So I can get drunk and then do something stupid. You know what I mean? Like, what was the reason for that, bro? You know, like, there's no reason for that. You know what I mean? If I feel like something's gonna happen to me, like, first of all, I shouldn't even be placing myself in that position. But now, like, I think about stuff like that, bro. Like, you know what? Obviously, I don't drink anymore, but if it ever happened in the future, I'm not saying that it is, right? But if I'm a drink, damn, who's gonna take me home? Am I gonna drive home with this open container? Because back then I didn't care about that, you know? So now I'm more open to like double thinking things, bro, and placing myself in situations where I need to question myself. Is this really worth my career? All these years that I work hard for, am I gonna place myself in a burden where I'm gonna let it all go? It's like you're rolling the dice when you're doing that. And sooner or later, that's just gonna catch up to you. And I'm telling you this because it has caught up to me, you know?
Yeah. You mentioned your father did time in prison.
Yeah.
What's that relationship with him now?
Man, I think it's a working progress, you know. I love my father, you know. I love my father because without him, I wouldn't be here. And I give him a lot of props for going to prison and changing his life around. This man went to prison, came back a religious man, Christian man, changed man. I didn't know who my dad was when he came out of prison. I was like, damn, this fool's talking to me, talking to my mother all sweet. Like, he's not beating on her, because that's the whole reason why he went to prison. You know, domestic violence, you know what I mean? He almost beat my mother to death. You know, the sheriff had me by the hand, brought me to the house after my mother was in the ambulance, the fucking blood everywhere. You
remember that?
I remember that. It's a vivid memory that will never leave my mind, bro. That night, I was playing with a couple friends, Super Nintendo. My mom said something to my dad. My dad didn't like her response. He went into the room, started beating her. Grabbed a frying pan, fucking beat her on the head, grabbed her by the hair, took her to the sofa, started beating her on the sofa, bro. And we had wooden sofas, so the armrest on the sofa was wooden. And I remember him just grabbing her head and beating her, bro. So that was the last memory of my father before he went to jail. Wow. So when he came out, he tries to mend this relationship with me. At that time, already years have gone. You know, you're going through middle school. I'm talking to my dad through a phone. The young version of me still talk to him. But as the years went by, middle school, high school came around, I'm like, I don't want to talk to this dude, man. Like, and I'm getting mad at my mom because I'm like, you're giving him the time of day after what he did to you. So then resentment started growing in me. Obviously, teenage years, you know. He came out, and we shared maybe like minimal words when we were eating, and it was more like ¿Cómo te fue? And bien, like short in answers. I don't want to talk to him. You know, there was even times where I bucked up to him. So we didn't really mend our relationship till after I came back from my first deployment. That was the first thing, you know, like, well, obviously he showed up for boot camp, but he really showed himself. He came out to Cali after I came back from deployment, and, you know, I was still, you know, going through what I was going through, trying to get accustomed to everybody back else, you know. And I remember him getting on his knees and telling me he was sorry. This man, like, crying in his knees, you know. I'm like, you're good, man. Get up, bro. You're good. You don't gotta apologize. But deep in my heart, I knew that I hadn't forgiven him. So it wasn't until maybe like a year back, 2 years back, that I had a talk with him, bro. And we got drunk, man. We got drunk, and, you know, he was sitting on a table. I'm across him, and, you know, he's getting drunk, and, you know, I get drunk, and I finally muster up the courage to, like, confront him about it. And I told him, You were not there for me in the years that I really needed you. What you did to my mom was unforgivable. I don't know how she took you back. And I know the Lord, you know, to you, the Lord has forgiven you and she forgave you. But I'm going to be honest with you, I don't forgive you. I have a lot of resentment towards you. And I remember him looking at me, and he stares at me, and he said, well, like, I'm here now, you know, like, estoy aquí, like, I'm here now, I'm trying to mend things. I'm like, you cannot make up years that are lost. I'm a man, bro, you know. I got my family, You know what I mean? I got my own house now. I'm grown now, bro. You know, to me, like, you know, it wasn't that easy, you know, but we talked, bro. We talked that night and conversation went to one another. And, you know, towards the end of the night, I still remember, and I mean, I was buzzed, he was buzzed too, but I remember telling him, like, you know what, like, moving forward, I would like to work on this relationship. I want to be better to you, because quite frankly, like, I know not everybody's perfect. You know, you made a mistake, you know, and you had no love in you back then. Now you do. Now you're walking with God, and you know that I'm willing to work on that relationship, man. And we talk, you know, he's more involved. You know, definitely my old man calls me. He calls me, like, you know, every other day how I'm doing, and I can see that he cares, bro. You know, when I went to the hospital, he was calling me every day how I'm doing, and that's something that my father 10 years ago wouldn't have done, you know. And I think like it's a work in progress. It's developing. It's not 100% like I would like it to be, but I think it's gonna take time for me to, you know, pull back a little bit, you know, give him a little bit of slack, you know, to let go of those memories, bro. Because like I tell him and I tell you, you know, like those memories are engraved in my head, you know. Those are things that I'm never gonna forget, bro. That if I look back to those memories, those times that I was with my mother as a child and he acted the way he acted, like that shit's burned in my head. I'm not gonna be able to get it out, you know. You want to talk about PTSD? So I have PTSD from that, bro.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like knowing that my dad was gonna drink on a weekend, the minute that he picked up a beer can on Friday, I knew it. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, he's gonna go off on my mom, and I'm gonna be in the middle of it. And I vowed to myself that I'm not gonna be like my dad, bro. I'm not gonna be like my father. And what a coincidence, or how ironically that I ended up just to be like him, bro. So that's where I opened up my eyes, you know. And I have a song in Revelations 2 that talks about that. It's a letter to my mother. It's a letter to my mother. You know, and I say that, you know, how ironically that I ended up to be like him, but on some real shit, I wish that I could have fixed it before, you know what I mean? Because we're not all perfect, you know? And maybe God, you know, put me through all of this to understand this, because I needed to open my eyes too, bro. You know, not everybody's perfect. And relationships are going to take progress to work on, to perfect them the way we want to work on them. Yeah.
The apple doesn't fall
far from the tree. Yep.
You know what I mean?
I agree with that, bro.
It takes a big man or big person to forgive somebody.
Yeah.
For something like that.
100%.
Yeah, and it's a process. Definitely a process. You know.
Yeah.
I can only imagine. I've seen things like that with my parents, but nothing to that extent. It's traumatizing to watch something like that at such a young age, to see that, and for it to be embedded in your head.
Yeah.
It takes time to heal. He seems like he's doing right now. He found the right path, and I hope that relationship grows to be something strong.
Thank you, bro.
You know, I really do. I wish you the best on that.
Thank you.
What are some of the things that you want to do now to better your life?
I want to start off with myself, you know. If I don't take care of myself, man, I can't take care of nobody. If I don't love myself, I can't, how can I love you? You know, if I had that hate in me like I did before, how can I tell you I love you to your face, bro? I got to love myself. I got to focus that energy, bro, all that hate that I had before, I got to let all that go, man. Because now I'm trying to give positive energy, because I've given energy to people and I've seen what they've done with that energy, bro. And I've gotten nothing out of it. You know what I mean? And it goes back to me not loving myself, me not loving who I was. You know what I mean? I put myself on the back burner instead of putting myself as a priority. So now I'm making myself a priority. I want to make myself better. Love myself, man. Be a better person to myself. Be a better person to my family. You know? Be the best version that I could be. Every morning, wake up. Thank God for waking up, because not everybody has the same fortunate day to wake up like we did, bro. You know what I'm saying? I wake up and you know, I mean, like I said, it's been ever since the hospital thing, I've been woken up, and, you know, thank you, God, for allowing me to wake up with my limbs, you know, for allowing me to see, for seeing another day, for this meal that I'm about to receive. Yeah, it might be a liquid diet, you know, for the next couple weeks, but that's okay. At least I have something to eat. You know, I'm blessed to have this. So just creating a better version of myself that people don't know. People know me. You know, when they go to the studio, Tunes is gonna, you know, he's gonna get buzzed. We're gonna go out drinking. That's done now, bro. You know, I'm gonna focus on what I need to focus on. I'm gonna focus on my family, create a paper route for my family, right? Do something bigger for myself. And if you want to jump on the train, cool. You got a ticket to board the train, because I don't cut nobody off. Nobody in life gets cut off from me, bro. If you think that I cut you off, you're wrong. You cut yourself off. You didn't put in the work. That's you, bro. You didn't wake up in the morning and thought what you could do to help out for our next meal. That's you, bro. The table is served. What did you bring to the table so we can all eat? And that's what I'm gonna do, bro. Because you know it. You got your podcast. You got a team, right? But if you surround yourself around all these negative people, all these people that are just leeching off of you, they're sucking you dry, bro. They're sucking your energy. They're sucking your time. And now you go from investing good time that you could have invested in yourself to wasting time on people that don't care about that. People that don't check up on you. People that could care less. That could care less how you're doing. It's all about what you could do for them. You know what I mean? We got to stop being servants and start being serving ourselves. You know what I mean? So
Real talk, man.
Yeah.
Real talk. What do you got planned for the future?
Well, I need to drop Revelations for sure. Okay. You know, after Revelations, I think I'm going to focus on working on singles, obviously focus on my job, you know, but I think creating more of a realistic personification of who I truly am, you know, because I've made music, but that's music that has a template, you know, and I hate to say this about myself, because I always told myself I'm never going to fall into the West Coast template, the gangster template, you know what I mean? Because I grew up, you know, in that life, bro, you know, but everybody does, bro. You know what I mean? You have rappers that come in here. It's the same thing, bro. Gangbanger. Got shot. Robbed up a liquor store. I could do this. I got pulls here. I got connects. You a plug. Blah, blah, blah. Cool. But what are you doing to be different? Right? You're putting yourself in this box. What's different about you know, you that somebody else is not doing? I could go to Compton, I could go to Slauson, I could go to all these hoods, right? All these hoods. I could go to OC, Anaheim, all these different neighborhoods, and everybody got a killer, bro. Everybody's a killer. Everybody's a shooter. I could put a gun in front of you right now. You become a shooter, bro. Everybody. But people get so caught up in the whole studio gangster type thing. And I'm not saying, you know, I'm not taking from people that really about that life. Cool, that's cool. But at the end of the day, is everybody in this world a gangster? Nah. So that's what I'm trying to do, you know, create a persona that people can relate to. Now they want to know who Cartoon is. Who's Cartoon? You know, like who are you really? You know what I mean? You look at the industry, major labels, you hear all these rappers, all these famous people. You know what I mean? Like Post Malone, all these like big name artists. Why are they up there? Because they're making something universal for everybody, right? It's for the white boys, for the blacks, for the brown, for the Asians. They're making something for everybody, bro. Not just raza, not just gangbangers, not just killers, not just whoever, you know, you popped or whatever. Cool. Everything has a time and place. But that's what I want to do. Make something universal, man. Something big, something that everybody can relate to. Your mother, your grandma, your sister, your cousin, your grandpa, yourself, you know what I mean? Your teacher, everybody, bro. Make a universal movement. And that's what I'm trying to do.
That's what's up, man. I wish you nothing but the best in that.
Thank you.
Nothing but the best in your future, man, because you got a bright future ahead of you. Cartoon, thanks for being here, man. Appreciate you pulling up.
Thank you for having me.
Great conversation, man. Get better, get well.
Absolutely.
We want to see you flourish, man.
Absolutely.
We don't want to see you back in that twilight zone, man.
I'm going to get there. So manifesting it.
Yeah, you're going to manifest it into reality, man.
Absolutely.
Because I know there's big plans for you.
100%, brother.
Thanks again for coming down, man. We'll have you on sometime later in the future and see how you're doing with all that. And like, again, wish you the best of luck, bro.
Thank you, Bobby, for having me again.
You got it, man.
It was always a good time with you, man.
Always.
Thank you.